I'm Tim Cavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors. I'd like to welcome you all to the committee meetings this afternoon, September 3rd, 2025. This meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at the M.U.D headquarters building located at 7350 World Communications Drive. A recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Safety briefing. I'd like to invite Vice President of Safety and Security, Shane Hunter, to provide a briefing regarding protocol for all individuals in attendance at the board meeting today in the event of an emergency.
Good afternoon, Vice President, Safety and Security, Shane Hunter. We do have ourselves here on the first floor at M.U.D headquarters. Normal entry and exit is through the back of the room, but there's an alternate exit here to the right. Outside that door, we'll find the nearest first aid kit and fire extinguisher, and a little farther down to our right is the nearest AED. With the location of the nearest AED in mind, show of hands, who's CPR trained in the room? Thank you. Should 911 need to be called and EMS escorted into the space, security will handle that task for us. If we need to exit the space for any reason, we can certainly use either door, but if we need to exit the building, we'll go through this door to the right, take 2 left turns, end up in the parking garage for accountability, and that concludes the safety briefing.
Thank you. I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. Roll call.
Sidzik.
Here.
McGowan.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Friend.
Here.
Outstanding Service Award. It is our pleasure at this time to present 2 construction employees with Outstanding Service Awards for going above and beyond the call of duty. On July 1st, one of our construction crews was working a water main leak near 88th and Frederick Streets. Machine operator Matt Armetta was preparing his machine when he heard screaming. Matt walked around his crew truck where he witnessed a man and a woman shouting at one another. He then saw the man punch and push the woman. At this point, Matt ran toward them. Employee Josh Jones followed him. Matt tackled the man and held him down while Josh stood by for assistance and waited for law enforcement to arrive. Onlookers told our employees that they felt the intervention by Matt and Josh saved the woman from further physical harm. The quick response from Matt and Josh reflected the district's core principles of care, integrity, service, and safety. Their actions demonstrated their commitment to our customers and the community we serve. At this time, I invite them to come forward and be recognized. On behalf of the board, our customer owners, and our employees, we cannot thank you enough for your outstanding service to our community and dedication to safety. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations for your service. Thank you for your service.
And board members, if you'd like to step around here so we can hear about those.
Sit on TV. I mean, I'm sheltered. I'm sheltered like that. It's a good chance if you get everybody in the same series. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Everyone look here. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
We're all on the wrong side here.
Yeah. Construction Operations, Senior Vice President and Chief Operations Officer Kendall Miner will review the proposed capital expenditures behind tab 5.
All right, good afternoon. So with the capital expenditure letter for this month of September, we have 7 items, 3 items for buildings, plants, and equipment, 4 items for system improvements. Today, I'm going to highlight item number 3 for buildings, plants, and equipment. That item is the pre-sedimentation basin design for $650,000. This is a request to contract with the outside engineering firm due to complexity of the project, specialized expertise requirements for the pre-sed basins for the Florence plant. The firm will evaluate improvements, provide recommendations, alternatives, develop a project plan, design, and prepare construction drawings and specifications for this project, as well as permitting, regulatory compliance, and other construction services that are needed for this project. RFP was solicited by Burns & Mack, HDR, and Olson. The committee recommends Burns & Mack for this project, and this CNA will approve the president to enter into an agreement for the design of this pre-sed basin. The next item I want to talk about is on system improvements. Item number 4, streetcar project. This is for $1.2 million. This is from to relocate gas mains that our crews will be doing as a part of the streetcar project. This is Harney Street from South 24th Street to South 28th Street. This project will not exceed the $7.6 million term sheet that we currently have available. It eliminates conflicts with the streetcar project. This is number 7 of 8 gas relocation projects to be completed, and this is to minimize any future potential delays and take advantage of the street closures that we currently have for the streetcar project. So with that, I'll open up for any questions or concerns.
Kendall, I know I asked this question either last month or the month before. I keep seeing these capital projects for Florence.
Yes.
And weren't they part of the Florence big project we had, that we had the whole renovation and all that? Weren't we able to tell that some of these major pieces of equipment were getting old and should have been part of the improvement plan?
Yeah, they were not a part of the previous bond process, but they were budgeted. They were items that have been identified. But however, with how these projects come up, they have a start and stop date. The CIPs, they flow and frequent based on prioritization, based on the need, but they do start and stop. So this is something that was identified, that was a need, but it's a project, a capital improvement that's starting now based on the timing of what we need to have.
It's all timing?
It's all timing.
And so in the Florence Improvement Plan project, you couldn't look at the capital and say, oh, that's going to be going out in a year or two and replace it then, or not? You don't do that?
Yeah, so Director McGowan, just to expound on that a little bit. The process that we have for capital improvement projects, when we get into this, we'll have an RFP, we'll go out for a design if we're not doing a design in-house. When we go outside for a design, they prepare all the documents. They'll say, okay, it's going to take us a year to design this part of the project. Once that design is completed, then we'll go out for bid for the project to be constructed by a construction company to come in and bid it. At that point, we'll move into the execution phase of the actual project. So it's a staggered process. It's a staged process on how the CIPs are actually executed. So to answer your question, yes, we have them listed out. We know exactly how we're going to do them. However, from the execution part, once design is completed, to bidding it out from a contractual standpoint, and then actually building the project out is the construction standpoint. So that you'll see different phases of the CNA or the capital improvement project come back to the board for approval.
Are these capital costs charged to the bond, or are they just part of the capital budget?
They're part of the capital budget.
So is the capital improvement plan of Florence closed? No more charges to the bond?
The project for the pipe replacement, yes, sir, that one's closed. However, the next capital improvement project will be starting after that. So there are multiple capital improvement projects that we have for all of our facilities that we continuously execute throughout the year.
We only had one bond there for Florence, right?
Well, I'm not sure if we only had one bond for Florence, but we had one bond overall for capital improvement projects in totality. So it wasn't just the Florence plant. We had the bonds covered not only Florence, but some of our building upgrades, CC1, CC2, and other capital improvement projects that we have.
Not included
cover.
in the Florence bond, though.
Not included in the Florence bond, just in the overall bond for M.U.D.
But those are all capital projects identified for the budget. They're not bonded, paid for with a bond, right?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Kendall, has there been robust communication with the city advising them we are now going to begin, or we have begun this work on Harney Street between 24th and 28th, and have we provided them with the expected costs that this will entail?
Yes. We've had a number of communications. Matter of fact, Mark Dole and I both, we communicate with Chief of Staff Warren as well as the mayor every month. We talk through all the projects we have coming up, what was currently going on, and we've also provided them with our most current recent invoices that's going to the OSA board for September for approval and payment.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, Director of Plan Engineering, Trevor Tonagis, will review the acceptance of contract and payment of final estimates behind tab 6.
Good afternoon, Trevor Tonagis, Director of Plant Engineering. For finals this month, just 2 projects for you. Item A is new development. It's Kensington Park Phase 2. This development occurred near 205th and Q Streets. Relatively small project, about 1/3 of a mile, but it was 12-inch main that was installed, and this was completed by Pat Thomas. The second item on there is another subdivision, Shadow View Village subdivision. This is on West Center near HWS Cleveland Boulevard. This project also not huge, but it was about 1/2 mile of 8-inch water main that was installed. This one was completed by Cedar. Both projects went well, and we're ready to final them. Any questions on either of those? Okay, I'll move to the next item, which is change order number 1. This is for one of those final projects, that Kensington Park Phase 2. Again, near 205th and Q Streets. The change order here was required to adjust the alignment of the water main, as well as to avoid underground utility conflicts. In this case, it was an electrical duct bank that was discovered after the bidding occurred. The developer previously approved this change order and is paying for that. So that's all I have on that one. Any questions? Okay, we'll keep rolling along here. Behind tab 8, the next item is a recommendation for renewal of consulting services for contract water main and development jobs for JEO. Staff's recommending a 3-year professional services agreement with JEO. And just a little background on JEO and the services they provide. So this is for construction inspection and management services on new development and water distribution transmission mains. JEO has been doing these services for us under multiple consecutive contracts since 2014. They continue to perform well, and they're an essential partner for us to meet our needs and the development community's needs with new infrastructure going in. Right now, my team in plant engineering, we handle the contracted water main and distribution, which is supplemented by JEO, as well as the IR programs, both gas and water, and then other numerous projects, cross bores, water service reconnects, streetcar. I'm missing a few more out there, but that work is all completed by 21 in-house senior engineering techs that help that work, and then they also do the new development and transmission main work as well. As the workload exceeds what we have capabilities for in-house, JEO then augments that staff for us. Typically, we take district staff and assign them to the more challenging IR work. It's in the heart of the city. They're more challenging, more locates, more customer interactions. We isolate pretty much, for the most part, JEO to new developments, less locating, less customer interactions, So it's a very efficient way for us to do that and take our in-house resources that have those skill sets and focus them on the highest impact areas to our customers. These water development and system growth projects have been significant over the last few years. We did 44.5 miles of water main installation in 2022, 34.5 in 23, and then last year we had 35 miles. And those vary from regular new subdivisions, you know, the 8 to 12-inch stuff, all the way up to very significant transmission main projects as well. So this is a significant investment in the growth and reliability of our water distribution system. All of these projects vary in timing, size, and also have construction schedules that are out of our control. They're developer-driven in terms of when they're executed and when they're sometimes paused. So we use these types of projects for the JEO contract. Two other challenges that I wanted to note regarding our in-house inspectors. As you're well aware, we have the streetcar project going on. We have 3 in-house senior engineering techs dedicated to the streetcar inspection project for our water services there. And then we also have inspected services to help supplement with that due to the just sheer volume of the work that's going to be taking place over the next 2 years there. And then also with our lead service line replacement program, we have 4 senior engineering techs dedicated to that work. Again, that's very hands-on with our customers, getting those water services, lead services replaced. So with those priorities out there, this is critical that we have this ability to supplement and augment our staff with JEO. In the case of the streetcar project, again, we have very limited ability to control the schedule. We're kind of at the mercy of the city and their schedule there, so we're doing our best to make sure we can accommodate that and keep that project moving. Continuing these supplemental construction services will allow on these other projects greater presence for our in-house staff to be able to meet the needs of those projects. And we are recommending a 3-year agreement at which time hopefully streetcar will wrap up. Lead services will still be there, but we can reevaluate at that time what the right balance between in-house and consulted services are. About 70% of the expenses related to the JEO contract are accounted through development fees, so it's a pass-through cost as a part of that development. And also want to note we negotiated for this 3-year term with JEO to secure a 3% rate increase per year over the next 3 years, which is, I think, very favorable. Staff, we've worked with the Personnel Committee over the last year as the discussions have evolved around contracted outside inspection services, and we evaluated various alternatives to what does this look like and what's that right balance between in-house and contracted staff. 3 alternatives were presented to that committee, and staff did in the end recommend continuing on with the JEO agreement. It's a very efficient way for us to operate, and we feel like at this time is the right solution there. The only other thing I wanted to note, just in terms of JEO, they have been a good partner. They've provided the staff, well-qualified inspectors that we need. They've made significant investments in equipment, GPS locating equipment, survey equipment. They do SWIP as well, which we don't really have the capability to do in-house. So there's a number of other things where they've invested in the technology on our behalf to advance our projects. And as a matter of fact, with the GPS, we're kind of following their path that they laid out in getting survey shots. And with your support, thank you for that. We're going to be purchasing our own GPS equipment so we can start to modernize the way that we collect as-built. So it's been a great partnership and one that we feel is worth continuing. So I'll stop there if there are any questions.
To curiosity, if we had not negotiated over the 3% increase per year with that JEO contract, do contractors just randomly, can they just raise their rates however by a certain percentage, or has there been any particular check placed on that by the contractors in the past?
That's a great question. In the past, we've had a a confluence of different agreements, some spanning multi-years, others, the vast majority have been single-year agreements, and typically those are handled each year. We sit down with JEO and look at what their costs are doing and what they feel like they need for a single-year increase. In this case, we initially did reach out for a 1 year, and they offered a 1 year at 4% is what they thought. And I said, hey, if we can do a longer-term agreement, work with us on the rates, and that's what we came to an agreement with. So I think it's very favorable terms, especially in the A&E world, what you're seeing with salaries. I think it's very favorable.
Trevor, thanks for the thorough overview. And Personnel Committee did have 2 or 3 meetings on this topic. So a terrific explanation. I also want to thank Senior Vice President Steve Osdemore for providing the options that we reviewed and ultimately decided to go with the recommendation for management from JEO. So thanks, Trevor.
Yeah, and thank you for Steve. There was a lot of work that went into that and a lot of thoughtful analysis, so I really appreciate that. Okay, if there's no more questions, I think that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice President of Procurement and Enterprise Services, John Zellers, will now review the bids on materials and contracts behind tab 9.
All right, good afternoon. John Zellers, Vice President, Procurement and Enterprise Services. I will be speaking on materials and contracts, which are under tab 9. There's just one item that I plan to discuss, and it is on page 3. We accepted bids for our annual requirement of activated carbon. As has been shared with the board in the past, activated carbon is used in the water treatment process at Florence to control natural organic compounds, which is essentially decaying vegetation that impacts taste, odor, and color of the water, primarily during high runoff events. It is necessary to use the least amount of activated carbon to achieve desired results, as it is a fine powder that can be carried through the treatment process, including filtration, causing a turbidity event. We are recommending the bid from ARC Purification, as their product performed better than other bidders to achieve desirable results when tested by our Water Quality Division. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Vice President of Engineering, Masania, will now review the proposed main extensions behind tab 11.
Good afternoon, Masania, Vice President of Engineering. Behind tab 11, you'll find the main extensions letter. This month, we've got 1 gas main and 3 water main extension projects. The impact of the gas main extension includes available gas service to 113 residential lots. The impact of the water main extensions include water service and fire protection for 41 residential, 1 commercial, 20 industrial, and 2 outlots. I'd like to highlight the last project on the letter, WP 2171, for the McGill Industrial Park subdivision. I've got a map shown here on the screen. This is a large development project which is related to the property closing that Mr. Mendenhall presented last month and the board approved. That's along Highway 133 and shown on the map there. This development requires construction of the new pump station proposed along the highway due to the elevation of the area in the development. So to provide adequate pressures and flows, the pump station will be pumping Zone 3 pressures into this area. Long term, the map shows further to the west. You see Bennington on the left side of the map. The blue main shown there are Zone 3. And that's eventually, as this whole area fully develops, that farmland and pasture turns into future subdivisions. The Zone 3 will be interconnected there. So provide better gridding and reliability for those areas. And at some point in the future, years down the road, that pump station will be built to be a larger pump station that can feed the larger area there. I'd like to note that this request is just approval for the main extension, and a future request for the design and construction of the pump station will be presented to the board for approval in the future. The developer is paying for an additional $616,000 in Pioneer main fees for a proposed 36-inch water main near 120th and State Street to get water to this industrial site. There are also district costs involved. Jay, if you could slide to the next one. Shown along Highway 133 there for the 24-inch main for $727,000, covering the cost for the proposed transmission main there. Those costs should be recoverable as future development comes in and they pay their fair share of their use of water coming off of this main. So really over a period of time, we'll recover the $727,000. And with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Personnel, Vice President of Human Resources, Bonnie Savine, will now review employee wage and/or salary increases and ratifications behind tab 12.
Good afternoon. Bonnie Savine, Vice President, Human Resources. I'll begin by recapping some of our employee counts for August of 2024 and 25. On August 31st, 2024, we had 896 regular full-time employees and 4 regular part-time employees for a total of 900. To end this August, we had 909 regular full-time employees along with 3 regular part-time employees, so our total was 912. And additionally, we had 17 temporary part-time employees on staff. That was for 14 interns and 3 of our summer hires that are not quite off-boarded back to school yet. And then briefly, a review of jobs in the job placement process. We have 5 jobs. They have requisitions routing for approval. We have 4 jobs that are posted right now to fill 6 vacancies. 3 are external only. Those are shown up on the board right now. And then we have 1 that is internal only at this particular time. 8 jobs are in the application review or interview stage. And then we also have 5 jobs with 11 new hires that will be onboarding over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Behind tab 12, you'll find the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications letter. Human Resources is recommending the Board of Directors approve wage or salary increases for 12 employees this month. We have 3 employees that are receiving a promotion as a standard OAC job posting. We have 6 OAC employees that are receiving a promotion through job progression. We also have 3 SPA employees that were selected for promotion for posted jobs. And then finally, at the very end, we have 2 new hire ratifications. Are there any questions for tab 12? Okay. Tab 13. Here you'll find the group insurance contract renewals letter. Each year, the district's benefit contracts are renewed, considering our organizational excellence, strategic priority, and the fiscal responsibility core principle. We target a comprehensive selection of benefits with a focus on managing the cost of benefit administration. The district continues to work with Hub International in evaluating our benefit administrators, our benefit options, and administration fees. I have Jeff Jorth here with us today from Hub International. He's on our team there with the Omaha office, so if there happen to be any questions, I will field him up here to help answer those. But we didn't have too many changes this year for our recommendations for 2026, so I'll briefly highlight a few things here. An existing contract with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska for health and pharmacy plan administration is already in place for 2026. Aside from out-of-pocket maximums increasing under the Affordable Care Act provision, we are recommending an infertility treatment coverage be added to the district's health plans. Both health plans would allow for that benefit. This supports the district's efforts to be an employer of choice and one that is family-oriented. The benefits will be capped with a lifetime benefit of up to $25,000. Next, I will point out that our pharmacy benefits continue to be administered seamlessly through Prime Therapeutics. That's in conjunction with our Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska claims teams. We are achieving at least our minimum guarantees in network savings and sometimes more than the minimum guarantees, and our pharmacy rebates are notable. A one-year contract is recommended to continue with Prime Therapeutics. And then the last item I'll note is for vision insurance, premiums are paid entirely by employees, but we've received some feedback from employees that they would like better benefits for the eyeglass frames. And so for next year, the changes that we are recommending are to allow the eyeglass frames to be replaced once a year instead of every other year, and also for the amount of frames to be increased from $130 to $200. So small little changes, but they will make a difference. Last, I will take a moment to mention that our annual benefits fair will be held on Thursday, October 30th. We had over 550 attendees last year, and that's between employees, retirees, their families. It's open to everybody that participates in our district benefits. As usual, we'll have representatives from all of our benefit administration partners, including folks like Voya Financial, IBEW 1521, Jerry's waving over there. They'll be there with us, Family Focus. We'll have the Methodist mobile mammogram bus, and new this year, we will be doing on-site PSA testing for eligible males to test prostate numbers, which is important for wellness. The on-site vaccine clinics will continue to offer flu, COVID, pneumonia, and shingles vaccines for those who are eligible. Are there any questions for tab 13? Okay, thank you. And finally, I will mention tab 14. And I'm excited about this one, and I appreciate the support from the senior team to provide recognition on a quarterly basis to the board, because we do believe strongly in promoting leadership development within the district. So behind tab 14 is a letter to place on file for a third quarter recognition for individuals who completed an advanced leader program through the district's leadership development programming. The advanced leader offerings use a nomination-based selection process, so their directors, VPs, senior vice presidents are making nominations, and then we are placing individuals in programs, or they are applying for programs and being selected from that program's committee. And their commitment is to a series of sessions spanning many months and sometimes an entire year. In addition to personal recognition, Human Resources will present a quarterly letter of recognition acknowledging their achievement and dedication to leading and learning at the district. Today, we're celebrating 6 employees, and most of them are here today with us, so I'm excited to mention their name, and I would just ask them to stand, and once I read off their program and their name, we can give them a round of applause. So Shallon Buffum was representing M.U.D. in the Leadership Nebraska program. That was an entire year of dedication there. Lisa Herron from accounting, she participated in the ICANN Defining Leadership for Women program. Ann Bozen completed Ravella's Effective Leadership Development Series. And then Justin Corcoran, Stephen Gloop, and Steve LaMontagne participated in the Emerging Leaders Series at UNO. So please join me in congratulating them. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Nice work. Judicial and Legislative Attorney Justin Cooper will now review the condemnation authority for Easy View Addition, Lot 1, behind tab 15. Justin.
Yeah, Justin Cooper, I'm a staff attorney here at the district, and I'm here today requesting a condemnation authority for some property at Highway 370 and 183rd Street. The need for this is the district has entered into a wholesale water agreement with the city of Gretna, and that requires a water main extension to connect to a pump house that Gretna is building. And so in order to make those connections, we need to come onto this private property. The map shows the location of the easement. We will continue negotiations with the parties, but in order to move the construction timeline along, we're asking for condemnation authority today.
Are they represented by council?
They are not.
Do we, with those trees, they kind of look like they're done for. What do we do as just a policy of being good citizens? And
So in the offer, we've taken into credit those trees that will have to come down.
yes. And
So
you put up
that's
new
part of our
ones.
offer.
Okay, and
Yeah.
you put up new ones and,
Yeah, depending on the size of the trees, it's of course difficult to match those, but those were planted trees as a buffer for the highway. And so they're wanting those back.
yes, all right. Thank you.
Have you had difficulty with negotiating on this? Has this been a problem?
We have. This is actually a companion to the authorization you gave me a month ago or 2 months ago. They simply don't want to be part of this at all. They're very protective of their property. It's been in the family a long time. And we've had a site visit, probably a half a dozen letters, phone calls, all trying to negotiate it. We've had the property appraised nearby, and so we feel pretty comfortable on our offers.
Do they understand that this is a possibility? This action of condemnation?
Yes. I mean, they've specifically said, don't threaten me with condemnation, so.
Is their water system a well right now?
I don't know that for sure. But they won't be able to tap into this one. This will be going to Gretna.
It says they reached their capacity for the well system Gretna has, so.
Correct. I don't know whether they specifically have a well on their property.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Insurance and Pensions, Vice President of Accounting, Steve Dickus, will now discuss the experience study for pension and other post-employment benefits for the period ending December 31, 2024. CAVMAC actuary Megan Skiles will now follow with a by presentation of the study.
Good afternoon, Steve Dickus, Senior Vice President, Chief Financial Officer. Behind tab 16, you'll find a memo related to a recently completed experience study of the district's retirement plan. This study was performed by CAVMAC Consulting and covers the 4-year period ending December 31st, 2024. The purpose of the experience study is to determine whether or not the actuarial assumptions currently in use are consistent with actual emerging experience. This study is required to be performed every 4 years and will be filed with the state of Nebraska. The memo briefly describes the work performed by CAVMAC and its findings. At this time, I'd like to introduce Megan Skiles, CAVMAC actuary, to present the recent experience study in more detail. The materials that Megan will be presenting can also be found behind tab 16 in your binder. It should be noted that Megan and her colleague Pat Beckham presented this information to the Insurance and Pension Committee meeting held on August 27th. Although the presentation included in your binders is the full presentation, I've asked Megan to address just a few key slides at our meeting today. I'll now turn it over to Megan.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Megan Skiles. I'm an actuary at CAVMAC. And as Steve mentioned, I'm going to try my best to keep this brief today since we covered it pretty thoroughly last week. So I'm just going to give a short explanation of why we do an experience study, what we do in an experience study, and then I'm going to jump right to our recommended assumption changes and what the cost impact of those changes would be on the retirement plan. So last time I was here, last spring, I was talking about the actuarial valuation results. So those results, some of the key highlights, we compare the liabilities and the assets, right? We give you your funded ratio, and then importantly, that recommended employer contribution amount. So how we get those results is based on an actuarial model that relies on a lot of different inputs. Some of the more straightforward inputs are your assets, your membership data, your benefit provisions that are used to determine the expected benefits to be paid out over the life of the plan. Some of the less straightforward inputs are what we're going to be talking about today, which are your actuarial assumptions and your actuarial methods that play a key role in driving and determining your liabilities. So on slide 3, the liabilities of the system are those benefits that are promised to be paid to the members. But those depend on a lot of unknowns, right? We don't know how long a member is going to work, so when are they going to retire? We need an assumption for that. When they retire, what's their benefit going to be? What do we expect their salary to be at the time of retirement? So we have a salary increase assumption. And then after they retire, how long are they going to live? How long are we going to be paying that benefit out? So we have a mortality assumption. So we use all these assumptions to anticipate and project the cost of those benefits over a long period of time. And then we have economic assumptions like the investment return assumption, which are used to discount those benefits back to our valuation date to come up with one liability number, one cost for all of the benefits that the system is responsible for. Then we use our actuarial methods to create a payment plan for those liabilities, for those costs, so that we have stable contributions over time to pay for those benefits. So given the importance of the assumptions and the methods in determining the costs and the recommended contributions, we always want to make sure we're using the best assumptions possible, the best estimates for future experience, and that the methods we're using continue to meet your funding goals. So that's when we get to an experience study, like on slide 4. When we do an experience study, it's just taking a moment to stop and evaluate our assumptions, evaluate our methods, make sure they're still our best estimates and are meeting our goals. So this is required every 4 years by state statute in Nebraska. CAVMAC, we do this every 3 to 5 years for all of our clients, no matter what. It's just good actuarial practice. So our role as the actuary is to make the recommendation, to evaluate these assumptions, and then to come to you. You are the fiduciaries. These are your assumptions, your methods. So you don't have to accept any of our recommendations. You can take all of them, some of them, none of them. That's your plan, it's your assumptions, your methods. And it's also important to note that these assumptions do not impact the actual cost of the plan. The cost of the plan is going to be the actual benefits that you have to pay as people retire. So our assumptions are just used to estimate the liabilities now to come up with the cost, the contributions that you need to use to be funding this plan over time to fund these benefits. When we do an experience study, our philosophy is don't overreact. Some of these assumptions depend heavily on the data. We need to look at if the experience is credible. So we tend to move part way towards actual experience. If every experience study we changed our assumptions to be exactly what we saw happen, we'd be jumping back and forth every experience study. We move part way to hopefully have a smoother pattern over time because these are long-term assumptions. We also want to anticipate trends, especially like mortality improvement that we expect to see long-term. You know, just given medical breakthroughs, technology advancements, we expect people to keep living longer. We want to build that into our mortality assumption, that somebody who retires 40 years from now is probably going to be collecting a benefit for longer than somebody who retires today. And then finally, simplify assumptions where possible. We don't need to make up a bunch of really, really complicated assumptions that are going to have a really small impact on your liabilities. So sometimes simpler is better. Moving to the next slide. When we perform an experience study, there's a lot that we look at. For the data-driven assumptions, I could get into the AE ratio. I'm going to skip over that unless there are any numbers people out there like me today. But some of our assumptions, past experience is a really good indicator of what is likely to happen in the future, so like mortality. But then there are other assumptions, like economic assumptions, that are just forward-looking. We don't want to base your investment return assumption on what happened last year, right? It's based on your current asset allocation, how you're invested now, and look forward. We also rely on information from your investment consultant, your investment advisor. We look at information from other publicly available sites like the Society of Actuaries, the Social Security Administration. We're evaluating information from all kinds of sources when we do an experience study. And then when we set the assumptions, it's a mix of science and art. We look at the numbers, we crunch the data, but then there's also a subjective part where we are interpreting the information, analyzing the credibility of what we're seeing. So like this study period, are there any outliers, any reason maybe this data isn't going to be indicative of what happens in the future? Like COVID, you know, did that impact the data or the results we're seeing at all? So we use our professional judgment there and the size of the data to determine the credibility and how much weight we want to give the actual experience. So we use a combination of science and professional judgment to drive our recommendations. So after touching on what the experience study is, we can jump right to our recommended assumption changes on slide 30. And as we mentioned earlier, we dove into all of these assumptions pretty thoroughly at our meeting last week, so I'm happy to answer questions on any of those. These are just the ones that we are recommending some adjustments to. So for the economic assumptions, the only change we're recommending is to bump up productivity by 10 basis points to 1%. That's a component of the general wage growth assumption, so that would also go up by 10 basis points to 3.5%. Then for the total salary scale, we're also recommending an increase to the early years of service for the salary merit scale. Just overall, we've seen larger salary increases the last few years. We've seen this across the board, all of our plans. It seems to be a national occurrence. And we expect this trend to continue in the short term just based on higher inflation, competitiveness in the market. But again, we're only reflecting part of the actual experience we observed. We don't want to overreact to the trends that we've seen because long term, this is probably going to come back down a little bit. For our demographic assumptions, we're recommending to update to the most recently published table for public retirement plans, which is the Pub 2016 table that the Society of Actuaries put out earlier this year. And then there's also a more recent mortality improvement scale, the MP 2021 scale. So we're recommending updating to that as well. Then for the early and normal retirement rates, we are recommending some adjustments to partially reflect observed experience, partially reflect the patterns we've seen, but not go all the way. We don't want to overreact. Similarly, with both male and female termination rates, we're recommending some partial adjustments towards that observed experience during the experience study. And finally, we're recommending a decrease in the marriage assumption from 90% down to 80%. And this is just for active employees. It's only used valuing death benefits for somebody who is currently working and passes away while they're working. So very low occurrence has a very low impact on costs of the plan. So speaking of costs, on the next slide, this is the big question we get whenever we do an experience study is, what would these changes cost us? How does it impact liabilities or our contribution? So here we're showing the impact on the retirement plan based on the January 1st, 2025 valuation. If these assumption changes are all adopted, they would first be reflected in the 2026 valuation. So it would be based on a slightly different data set. So the impact would be slightly different, but should be pretty similar to what you're seeing. So if you look at the actuarial liabilities, the liabilities are actually going down by about $7 million, which is very nice for me to be able to get up and say, usually you do an experience study and costs are going up. So this is refreshing. But because liabilities are going down, the funded ratio is expected to go up by about 1%. And because liabilities are down, the UAL payment to pay those off is also coming down, so that district contribution rate is down by about 60 basis points, which translates to about $400,000 less in your recommended contribution amount. On the next slide, we have the impact on the OPEB plan, the health plan, which is pretty similar. The liabilities would decrease by about $3 million. Funded ratio would go up 1.8%, and that actuarial recommended contribution would be down about $400,000 again. So at this time, I will open the floor to any questions.
I just want to, make some comments. The Insurance and Pension Committee met last week with the representatives from Cavanaugh McDonald and went through all this in quite a bit of detail. And the attachment, the study that or the handout that they have, is very good, very well put together and easy to understand if you want to go through it. But if you don't want to go through it, trust the IMP committee that we did go through it in detail. And I'm pleased to say that our pension plan is in great shape. You know, and you can see from her recommendation, they want to tweak some of the assumptions that we have based on the last 4 years' experience, but nothing major. For instance, our overall rate of return that we have, 6.75 for the long term, they say leave that the same. You know, it's good compared to others. It's not necessarily overly conservative or liberal, but it's good. And, you know, there's not a lot of tweaks in here, and it was very nice hearing all the good comments about our pension plan and where we're at and where we're going. The one thing I thought was interesting, they said we're at this increased, the assumptions increased our funded percent to 95%. And we're at 95% funded. And they said, now, don't make any changes to your process, you know, continue to contribute more than what the actuarial says, like we have been. And as your funded percent goes up, if it gets to 100%, at that point, consider lowering your overall return from 6.75 to 6.5 or somewhere less, you know, so it's more of a competitive return, but it also doesn't cost us a lot of money, and we can go from 100% funded back to 95. So we are in a good position with our pension, and I want to thank all my colleagues here for all the support that we've done over the years to do this. One last comment on the OPEB. I don't know if you looked at it or not, but it is funded now, believe it or not, at 80% funded, OPEB, which we started contributing to OPEB back in, I don't know, 2018 or whatever it was, and now it's 80% funded. I have asked Steve Dickinson, management, as part of the budget review for next year, 2026, to present to the board an analysis and tell us whether we should switch to paying OPEB liabilities from our pension, from our fund assets, or continue for another year, pay as you go like we have been, and let the pension funding go up from 80% to something else. It's getting to that point where we got to decide, when do we pull the trigger and switch away from pay as you go? But that's a good problem, and I just want to thank Megan and Pat. They did a great job, and this experience study was fun to go through because it just supported everything we've been doing for this pension and making sure it was well funded.
Thank you. I like to hear that experience studies are fun.
And this does require board action today, correct? Yes. Okay.
I think we have to approve the recommended changes.
All right, well, thank you very much. At this time, are there any members of the public in attendance today who would like to address the board? Do any board members or management have any further comments they wish to share? Seeing none, the meeting is now concluded.
Is this time for the public comment? Yeah. Okay, is it too late to make public comment?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Come on up and state your name.
Thank you. My name is Christian Gray. I reside at 1134 South 30th Avenue. Shall I continue? Great. As in addition to being a resident of Subdivision 3, I'm also a community and neighborhood advocate. We recently had a pretty extensive project done on the corner of Park and Woolworth. That occurred from May through July, so a pretty long, extensive project. The location of the project was Park Avenue in Woolworth. Approximate location, 1344 Park Avenue. I am just interested in learning M.U.D board's policies and procedures on a few different items that we experienced. The first one is, what is M.U.D's policy and procedures for notifying local businesses about street and sidewalk closures, particularly those that may adversely affect small businesses? Number two, what is M.U.D's policies and procedures for notifying local businesses about project timeline changes and extensions? Again, particularly those that make small businesses vulnerable to closure. Number three, what is an emergency crew, and how does it differ from a standard project crew? I don't know the correct terminology, so you'll have to fill me in, but from my understanding, we received emergency crew for this project. And then finally, number four, what are the norms and expectations for board member access from constituents? I've reached out several times and have been unable to have direct access to my representative. So I'll pause here and answer any questions that you have.
All right, who's going to handle the response? Mark?
May I?
Yes, please. Or would you like me? Is this so too tight? Let me get on the other side of you here.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Christian, do you own a small business in the area?
I operate a nonprofit in common community development and in common housing development. We neighbor a number of small businesses that we work directly with in the area.
Okay, thanks.
Mark Mendenhall, Senior Vice President, General Counsel. I'll attempt to answer some of Mr. Gray's questions or concerns. I will agree that Mr. Gray did make outreach to the district raising these concerns, the impact to businesses, and our corporate communications group has had a number of discussions, verbal, phone call, text messages with him for the last 2 months, I believe. I believe the work specifically that he is referencing, the district crews, we had barricades on the project from May 28 to July 2nd. We were on site to install an offset on a water main in preparation for city sewer work. Without giving any specifics, I'm not sure if, I don't want to put Stephanie or Masa on task here, but my understanding on this type of city sewer work, there is going to be coordination between City Public Works and the district. That's going to result in a set or a planned schedule of when the work is going to be done. We will provide information to City Public Works when we will begin work, when barricades will be installed, and then when that work can be turned over to the city for the city to go forward with whatever work that they need to do. There is coordination between the district and the city's paving contractor, and I believe this was turned over to city paving on July 2nd, so their contractor to handle paving. I believe when Mr. Gray references the emergency crew, there was a need to move that particular crew that was working on that project to a different project that was, or we were off-site for 3 to 4 days while we were also waiting for water sampling tests. So as the main is put back into service, there is water quality work that's done to confirm that it can go back into service and then turn back over to the city.
Was that neighborhood without water during this time?
No, I don't believe there was any. I guess I'm looking at Stephanie. No, my understanding is there is no outage during that period of time. In terms of coordination, again, I don't know, Masa or Stephanie, believe there is often, to the best of our efforts, communications with residents and businesses. In this particular project, I don't have that in front of me, so I can't say, but we can certainly report back to the board what was communicated and when it was communicated. In terms of outreach to you all, as you all know, there is oftentimes work that district staff, corporate communications, and our senior team staff will work to answer questions from constituents. We will relay those questions, concerns, and then our responses to you all. That was done in this particular case, and so the director was certainly aware of our outreach. As we understood it, where we last left Mr. Gray in July, was that he thanked us for our responses. Certainly we can, if you'd like to stick around longer today, Christian, we can go in another room after the meeting and talk further to help explain. So,
was there a neighborhood group that gets together in that area, like not Neighborhood Watch, but a neighborhood organization, and would they have been communicated with too?
The details of this, if you're asking, again, Mark Mendon, I am not familiar with this particular neighborhood or a group of business owners. I don't know if Masa or Stephanie is familiar.
I can provide a general idea. Masania, Vice President of Engineering. I'm not familiar with the details of this project, but I just want to describe these projects that we coordinate that are city-led. So the city will have various projects throughout town where they're improving their sewer infrastructure or improving transportation by adding turn lanes. So there's a lot of coordination that happens up front before any of the city plans are finalized. Our design team would meet with the city engineers or the consultants, whoever's leading that project, to provide feedback, because most often we're looking at facilities that we don't want to replace. It's not on our plan to touch that infrastructure. So a lot of effort goes into minimizing construction work on the engineering front. So there are those very project-specific meetings. We also meet monthly with the City of Omaha and other public entities to collaborate to make sure that these projects are going as efficiently as possible, and we're understanding the impacts of these. So On these projects that impact neighborhoods, usually it's the owner of the project, in this case, city, leading that effort. But of course, if there's water service impacted, or if we see our work impacting customers in certain ways, we may be making outreach to customers in specific situations. But typically, it is the owner of the project leading that. I would say it is challenging on the utility front because it is often others leading the project, but the utilities have to be the first ones out there. So we're relocating our facilities before the shallower or the surface grade work is happening. So just wanted to provide a little background on how a lot of these projects throughout the city go.
And this was a result of the clean sewer, combined sewer separation project?
That I'm not sure. They've got a number of projects out there, some CSO related and others that are just to upgrade their sewer infrastructure.
But it was a sewer project, and we're required to adjust accordingly when it's an infrastructure project by the city?
That's what the more routine conflicts that we come across are those sewer inlets that they're replacing, they're adjusting elevations, and that come in conflict with our water or gas mains out there. We could find out specifically on this one if it was related to the CSO project or not.
Thank you.
Mark Doyle, President. Thank you for coming and talking with us. To boil this down to a real simple concept away from the detail, I think Mr. Gray was concerned that we allocate emergency crews across disadvantaged areas and not necessary. And I understand why you might think that. I wouldn't say, I'm going to tell you that I don't think that's true, but what I do take away from this discussion that we've had mostly over email is that we always need to do a better job of communicating with our customers and our businesses. And if someone sees a crew leave for a couple days and come back, I understand what that looks like, and it can be frustrating. So internally, I've had a lot of discussion with, I don't know if you met with Julie Thacker, but I think you have. I've had a lot of discussion internally with the group saying, we can always be better, and we always take these things into consideration and say, hey, if we're leaving for a few days, it could be a one-off. We can communicate. We're going to try to do a better job of that. But for the board, we aren't allocating crews across advantage versus disadvantage. We're just not doing that. But we are using emergency crews during the day for projects that need to be done, and absolutely they get pulled off. You know how we have major disruptions, every day, our fault, not our fault. So it's not falling on deaf ears. I do want you to know that.
I think the fourth question he had was how does this get communicated to board members?
No, I wrote down, how do you get direct access? And I was shocked a little bit because you and I had a whole coffee meeting in person, and you had direct access to me, and I remember of the board. So I don't know where's that question coming from, Christian, please?
Yes. Yes, Ms. Cook, you've been wonderful.
And you may apologize to me directly.
Yes, you're not Sub-District 3, are you?
Well, we all,
Sure.
I'm not going to say, ooh, don't call me because you live across the street
Sure.
from Harold.
I'm here for an education today, and I'm happy to learn and adjust. And I will say that Ms. Cook has been wonderful as I've reached out to her. So this is not, whether it's you've been great to connect with. Our organization works in two areas, and I believe you represent the second area that we work in. I was referring to Ms. Howard in this situation because this is the district. Again, my understanding, typically working with boards, each board member represents a particular district or sub-district, and they are your advocate for. If I'm misunderstood on that, I'm glad to learn.
That's one way to efficiently, but here's the thing, I know how to get, if you had contacted me, I absolutely can get you in contact. And plus, I've seen where people go through the thing and they go boop, 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 and they hit our picture or our email address, and within, cross my heart, 24 hours, it's not like, they got this 3 months ago. It has generally been addressed, like the people who actually do the thing for real and then I have contact information, unless it's someone who has kind of a general opinion about the world and more politics kind of stuff. So I
Yes,
don't need to stand up for my
yep,
colleague, but had you reached out to me, I still have your number in my phone, and, Apple won't let you let go. That could have been, because you like to meet with people, Director Howard.
Actually, I do. Sometimes I go to their homes, actually. But I want to thank Director Cook for sitting down with you and spending time with you. I don't have an explanation as to why this didn't come to me and came to the very capable hands of Director Cook, who spent time on it. As I said, when people have contacted me, and sometimes they've been surprised when I come to their homes to talk to them about these things. So I'm not going to take it personally if you didn't talk to me directly. Again, I appreciate Senator Cook taking this ball off the court. Thank you.
Anyway, people have so many negative things, and we are elected leaders, and we care about everybody here. Nobody's going to go on to be the king of the world or queen of the world, as the case may be. So maybe I am a little bit sensitive because people do say negative things about people who are elected officials. And I might have a little baggage left over from when I was in the legislature. I may be triggered, as the kids say, but I can't imagine that anyone here would receive a forwarded email or a message from anybody, whether they're with an organization or not, and not do their best to connect with you directly or connect you with the person or department that really actually knows how to do stuff. So,
may I respond?
Full disclosure, if you don't mind, Mark Doyle, President again. I'm going to take responsibility for this one.
Thank you.
Talked to Director Howard about this and said, we've been talking to Mr. Gray for a while. He's been in touch with Director Cook. Julie's working with him. We've talked to him about Walnut Hill a year ago. I think we have this handled. I let you off the hook on that one, and I want to apologize for that. We always forward emails. This one, I had a little caveat that there's a lot of people involved here, and I think, but you're free to do. This is not your fault.
Well, I appreciate that so much. I have every faith in things being handled well here, or of course we hear about them when they're not. But you made a perfectly good point. We can always do better. I would certainly be the first to say that one.
Yep.
We do what we can do and what we understand, and we work together and coordinate. Thank goodness. It's really a very collegial board that works together. And I think I do remember we had this conversation sort of late in the day.
Yes.
And you said you thought things were. You thought things were rolling
You're about as
good.
interactive as anybody could be. So, and we were in full contact with the foreman on this job. I'm not going to name him. There was a reason they were pulled off, and sometimes we're pulled off because we have to be because the next one's coming in. But again, it's can be frustrating, and our communications can always happen and can always be better. That part
And I appreciate all that. If I may interject just briefly, I'm not here to complain. I think the 4 questions I proposed were reasonable. As clearly this is a different kind of board. I typically work with city council, so I contact my city council representative, not the one that I last spoke to, or even that I have the best relationship with. I go to the one that's representing that district. So if this board works differently than that, then that's a good learning today. Mostly my questions were just about policies and procedures, even beyond our specific project. I've heard that things can be done better, communication can be done better. I'm just asking today if there are set rules in terms of how these things are worked, and if they're not, maybe I can offer that as a suggestion that those are something that are documented. Then when a project like this happens, businesses are notified 5 days in advance. If a project extends beyond the deadline, they're notified again. If a project breaks for 3 days, these are just questions. I don't have negative experiences with M.U.D. I'm not here to complain. I'm here to learn as a community representative and advocate to better work with you all in the future. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other members of the board in attendance who would like to address the board, or any board members or management have any further comments they wish to share? Okay, this meeting is now concluded. We will reconvene for the regular board meeting at 2:25. Take your seats, please. Take your seats. Take your seats.
I really enjoyed seeing finally get back on though.
Thank you. I would now like to call the meeting to order. I'm Tim Cavanaugh, Chairman of the Metropolitan Utilities District Board of Directors, and I'd like to welcome you all to the regular monthly board meeting this afternoon. It was the 3rd of September, 2025. That day I'll always remember. Anyway, this meeting is being live streamed from the boardroom at M.U.D headquarters building located at 7350 World Communications Drive. And a recording of this meeting will be uploaded to the M.U.D website after the meeting's conclusion. Roll call, please.
Sidzik.
Here.
McGowan.
Here.
Howard. Here. Kavanaugh.
Here.
Begley.
Here.
Cook.
Here.
Friend.
Here.
I would like to advise all those in attendance that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is available on the wall in the back of the boardroom. And now for those who wish to participate, we will recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item 4, I'm looking for an approval for the minutes for the committee and regular board meeting for August 6, 2025. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes.
Item 5, capital expenditures.
Do you mind, Mr. Chair, if I just go 5 through 11, if there's no objection?
I actually like it and endorse it.
All right. I like.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I also agree.
Any discussion? But you might, just for a point.
Well, I will lay them out differently, but rather than wait for you to call on me, each one is what I'm asking.
Oh, okay, that's fine too.
Okay.
So are you just going to take one at a time?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I misunderstood. Okay.
I'm just trying to help you speed up a little bit.
Go ahead.
All right, number 5, capital expenditures discussed in committee. Move approval is outlined in the memo from Kendall Minor dated August 29th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 6, acceptance of contracts, payment of final estimates, also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Trevor Tonagis dated August 22nd.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 7, change order number 1 to WP 2090. This was also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Trevor Tonagis dated August 8th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 8, renewal of consultant agreement, construction phase inspection, JEO Consulting Services Agreement. This was also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Trevor Tonagis dated August 29th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 9, bids on materials and contracts discussed also in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Sherry Lightfoot dated August 25th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik.
Yes.
McGowan.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Begley.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Friend.
Yes. Item number 10, notices of purchases between $25,000 and $50,000 direct to be placed on file. Item number 11, main extensions under services and extensions. This was also discussed in committee. I move approval as outlined in the memo from Masa Nia dated August 28th.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Item 12. Director Begley.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, just one second. Went over two tabs too many. I move for approval of the wage and/or salary increases and ratifications as discussed in committee this afternoon and outlined in Ms. Savine's memo dated August 25th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Item 13, group insurance contract renewals. I move for approval of the group insurance contract renewals as discussed in committee this afternoon and outlined in Ms. Savine's memo dated August 25th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Item 14 will be placed on file. Agenda item 15, condemnation authority for Easy View Edition Lot 1. I am making a motion at this time. District management's requesting we approve the condemnation authority for a permanent easement on the south side of Lot 1 of the Easy View Edition as presented in the committee meetings by District M.U.D. District Attorney Justin Cooper and as outlined in his memo to the committee dated September 3rd, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just for the record, I see his memo dated August 25th. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I just want to correct the record.
Yes, that'd be the same.
Thank you.
Still second.
Roll call or discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
Item 16, Director Howard.
Thank you. I move to approve the experience study for the pension and other post-employment benefits trust for the period ending December 31st, 2024, as presented in the committee meetings by Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Steve Dickus and CAV MAC Actuarial Megan Skylas, as outlined in Mr. Dickus's letter to the committee dated August 28th, 2025.
Second.
Discussion?
Just a clarification, do we, as a board, have to approve the recommended changes that they, as a result of the experience study, the recommended changes that she presented for approval for subsequent use in the next pension review? Pardon?
I thought that's what we were approving in the memo.
I heard approval for the study. I didn't hear approval for the actual recommended changes. I'm just questioning whether we have to.
Mark Mendonal, Senior Vice President, General Counsel. Yeah, I believe the best approach would be an approval of the recommendations as outlined in the memo. If I didn't hear that from Director Howard, I'm sorry. I thought I did, but I could have misheard it.
Well, it includes that and other post-employment benefits trust for the period.
So as long as we're approving the recommendations as outlined in the memo, then I think that would be the appropriate motion.
Could you clarify your motion then?
What do you need clarification on?
Well, I heard you say we recommend the experience study. I never heard anything about recommending the recommended changes as a result of the experience study.
So, Mark Doyle, President, the second paragraph of the letter, and you're approving the letter, kind of outlines what we're doing here.
I thought I just heard Mark Mendenhall say it would be better if we actually voted on.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but I'm saying if you just read that, you got it.
Let's do this again. I move to approve the experience study for the pension and other post-employment benefits trust with adopted recommendations for the period ending December 31st, 2024, as presented in the committee meetings by the Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, Steve Dickus, and CIV MAC Actuarial, Megan Sykes, as outlined in Mr. Dickus's letter to the committee dated August 28, 2025.
There we go. Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Roll call?
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Frame?
Yes.
Other matters of district business for discussion. Are there any members of the public at this point that wish to address the board? Any members of the board who wish to comment further? I just want to add, as a former law enforcement officer, and I'm sure Dave is too, very proud of Matt and Josh for their awareness of their surroundings, which every employee should be aware of what's going on around them, and for their quick action, possibly putting their own safety in jeopardy, but preventing further harm. So I'm very proud of what they did.
Second.
We place it on file.
Chairman Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Mark Doyle, President. I couldn't agree more. We live and work in this community, and while they would say, well, we're just doing our job, well, that's just not true. We don't know what we do when we're faced with that. That was a nice moment to recognize them, so thank you. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a moment to recognize Sue Lopsiger, our Senior Vice President, Chief Information Officer. I'm not going to go through her resume because that would take too much time, but Sue had a wonderfully effective resume before she came here to M.U.D. to share 7 years of her career with us, starting as Vice President of Infrastructure, or IT, and then ending up as our Chief Information Officer. I don't know if, Sue, you want to say a couple words or what. I'm putting you on the spot here, but this is your last meeting, correct? Yes. Right? And we're going to miss Sue, and I'm sure she's going to miss us, right? Well, you know, we joke around because we've both been in IT for a long time, and after Sue was here for a while, it's like, so what do you think? Public utilities, people think they're not interesting. Not true, right? So, Sue, thank you. If you don't mind, take it away.
State your name, please.
Thank you, Mark. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I read that when people's paths cross, it's either for a blessing or a lesson, and sometimes both. But I have certainly learned a lot of lessons here from the staff, from my colleagues, and from the board. You're always asking great questions, keeping us on our toes. But yeah, truly, I didn't know anything about utilities before I came here. It really has been a blessing. I'm just really delighted that I did have a stop here on my life's journey, and I'll be an M.U.D. cheerleader for years to come. So just want to thank everybody. It's been a great time here. Thank you.
I felt like we were so lucky to have someone of your caliber. I mean, you're a West Pointer, and to have somebody, especially in a time when utilities need to be secured. It's maybe not what you learned, but to have you in this role has made me feel pretty good. Thank you.
And thanks for staying until your last major project was finished, as we acknowledged. I think it was last meeting. It might have been the month before. So thanks for staying for that.
Just like to wish my wife, Rebecca, happy birthday. I continue to outkick my coverage every day, so happy birthday, Rebecca.
All right, well, there's no need for a closed session. Anybody else have any comments before we adjourn? Then how about a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Sidzik?
Yes.
McGowan?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Kavanaugh?
Yes.
Begley?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Friend?
Yes.
We're adjourned. See you in October.